The story of the Israel-Iran conflict begins in 1979, when Iran's Islamic Revolution overthrew the US-backed Shah and installed a government that openly opposed Israel's existence. From day one, the Islamic Republic severed ties with Israel, condemned Zionism, and declared unwavering support for the Palestinian cause. In the following decades, Iran backed regional resistance groups Hezbollah in Lebanon, Hamas and Islamic Jihad in Gaza, and Shia militias in Iraq and Syria, not just ideologically, but with weapons, funding, and training. Israel, which had previously maintained discreet ties with Iran, now regarded it as a top threat. Over the years, it carried out bombings, assassinations, and cyberattacks, targeting Iranian interests across the region. But these operations came at a massive civilian cost. In Gaza, Israeli offensives in 2008, 2014, 2021, and 2023 led to indiscriminate destruction. Apartment blocks, hospitals, and schools were bombed. Thousands were killed, many of them children. Entire families were buried under rubble. In 2008 and 2009, over 1,400 Palestinians were killed in Operation Cast Lead. In 2014, that toll rose to more than 2,200, including over 500 children. UN shelters and medical facilities were repeatedly struck. In 2021, Israeli airstrikes destroyed residential towers, housing families, and global media like Al Jazeera and the Associated Press live on camera. In Lebanon's 2006 war, Israeli air raids killed over 1,100 civilians. Cluster bombs rained down on southern towns, leaving lethal remnants that still threaten lives today. In Syria and Iraq, Israeli missiles hit not just military targets, but also airports, refugee camps, and aid convoys. Civilians died in strikes rarely acknowledged or investigated. Tens of thousands of people across Gaza, Lebanon, Syria, and Iraq have died in Israeli military campaigns. The majority were civilians. No Israeli leader has ever been held accountable. Even Israeli human rights group B'Tselem called Israel's actions apartheid and systematic oppression. By 2023, the International Criminal Court began reviewing war crimes cases against Israel. In 2024, it formally named Prime Minister Netanyahu as a suspect, citing intentional attacks on civilians and forced displacement. Israel's justification of self-defense stands in stark contrast to the scale of destruction and the overwhelming imbalance of power. Meanwhile, Iran continued backing resistance forces. Rockets from Gaza and Lebanon also killed Israeli civilians. But Palestinians had no army, no Iron Dome, and no international protection. Iran's nuclear program became another battleground. Israel, itself nuclear-armed, accused Iran of secretly pursuing weapons. Iranian scientists were assassinated. In 2010, 2012, and 2020, Israel was blamed, and most observers agreed. The 2015 nuclear deal offered brief relief, but in 2018, the US withdrew. Sanctions returned. Iran resumed enrichment. By 2025, the region was primed for war. In April, a suspected Israeli cyberattack crippled Iran's power grid. Iranian-backed militias struck Israeli bases in Syria and Iraq. Then on June 13, 2025, Israel launched Operation Rising Lion, one of the largest military assaults in the region's history. Over 200 Israeli jets bombed Iranian nuclear sites, missile factories, and military centers in Natanz, Isfahan, and Tehran. Senior IRGC commanders and scientists were killed. Iran responded with over 100 drones and missiles targeting Israeli cities. Tel Aviv and Haifa were hit. Dozens of civilians were killed or wounded. By day 5, more than 600 Iranians and 24 Israelis had been confirmed dead. Homes, hospitals, and civilian infrastructure were left in ruins. The images flooded global news. Children pulled from rubble, burning cities, overwhelmed hospitals. Hezbollah and the Houthis joined the war. Rockets from Lebanon hit northern Israel. Drones from Yemen struck ports and military installations. Israel escalated bombing runs in Syria. Cyberattacks exploded. Iranian hackers disrupted Israeli utilities. Israeli spyware disabled Iranian state media and communications. The UN, EU, China, and Russia urged restraint. The US backed Israel diplomatically, but pushed privately for de-escalation. The International Court of Justice reiterated that Netanyahu could face prosecution. Mass protests erupted globally, calling for accountability. Yet the bombing continued. Iran vowed to keep fighting. Israel refused to halt its campaign. Refugees fled Iran's western provinces and Israel's southern towns. Power, water, and fuel systems across both nations collapsed under the pressure. This is not a new war. It is the violent continuation of decades of apartheid, occupation, and unpunished aggression. Until real justice is delivered, not just to one nation, but to every child buried under the rubble, this war will keep repeating itself. The world once again will watch and do nothing.